Hi everyone, this is John Connery, your classmate in HCM Class 598, our capstone class. And as we approach the end of this, following what we are requested to do, which was to provide a brief overview of our thesis paper and where we hopefully will go with it toward the end. So, without further delay, essentially what I'm going to be focusing on is the subject of the computerized order entry at Emory Healthcare, which is located in Atlanta, Georgia. And essentially they had rolled out EHR implementation for 3 of their facilities and had some issues at the time. Most of it was successful, but they were about to roll it out in their final facility, which was called Midtown Hospital, and they wanted to evaluate how they could possibly do it differently to minimize any potential errors down the road, in particular user errors, order entry errors, as well as lack of engagement by physicians and other medical staff. So essentially the way I'm going to tackle my paper, more or less, is to, as far as identifying the key problems in this example here, this is my outline from my paper, 2 that stood out for me was the resistance to change by the physicians, as well as the user technical skills and errors. A lot of the folks who were using this technology either had limited technical skills and or were creating a lot of errors for themselves because they didn't know or weren't comfortable enough with the technology. So as I narrowed it down a little further, I found that the specific issue was the resistance to change by many of the staff members. So the way I'm going to approach this to overcoming this resistance to change is to address the benefits of EHR technology and its use, as well as improving upon the training practices of the facilities so that people feel more engaged and valued as they're actually doing their work. Obviously, the desired outcome in the end of this would be to have improved healthcare delivery so that patients will receive the best care available. And some things that I will do to address this specific problem of resistance to change will include possibly utilizing scribes, which are folks essentially, I don't want to call them stenographers, but or order takers, but actually essentially folks who will document the event as they're sitting in the office with the physician and the patient. And I will draw on both benefits and risks involved in using that possible solution, as well as another solution I was going to come across was the expert users, which would involve people who are, another term that they often use is called super users, typically folks who have been trained extensively in the use of EHR technology, and more times than not it involves peers. Sometimes it'll involve IT or technical staff. But the idea is essentially to have these folks available for others as they roll out the implementation to make it easier for the folks who are learning this for the first time. And again, I'll address the benefits and risks of possibly implementing that use as well. Ultimately, the improved characteristic in this will be improving upon physician engagement, making sure that they are fully engaged and feel valued throughout the whole process. And some of the other things I'll be touching on include certain conditions that are required to achieve this physician engagement. And that would include respectful training, which essentially would involve making sure that the physicians feel respected when they're being taught this new technology, among other things. Also accommodating for the skill set levels for each of the types of physicians and other staff members involved. Also included is supporting resources. This could be IT teams involved. Also, too, as I mentioned earlier, peers who have been trained as super users would be helpful to make the transition more easy. And also, and finally, to be able to measure these results. And what I'm going to most likely focus on is the area of whether or not errors have been greatly reduced with the implementation of EHR, as well as making it more refined process, and whether or not it improves workflow, and obviously the ultimate goal, making sure it's a positive and enhanced experience for the patient. So I know I went over the 2-minute limit. My apologies in advance, and please disregard the gray hair. I intend to have that colored by the next video on my final project. I am just kidding. It's a hopeless cause. At any rate, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again in the classroom. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.